Cody Rhodes might currently be the most interesting man in pro wrestling, and it's all because he's walking a very fine line in more ways than one. Will he or won't he? Is he playing 4D chess or just overthinking things? Is he underthinking things? Is he self-aware enough to know how his current excessively bombastic presentation comes off to many who are watching? Is he just messing with fans while having no intention of ever truly turning heel at all? And most importantly, does he know where this is all going and how he's going to get there? Because there's a lot going on here, and depending on how you're choosing to read what Cody is doing right now, you're probably either irritated, tired, or fascinated. I'm in the third camp, but depending on how this all goes, I might end up in one of the first two. So let me put this out there. I like Cody. I have liked him since AEW began, and I feel a lot of the criticism thrown his way comes from ill-meaning places, and that in many ways, pro wrestling fans don't really deserve Cody Rhodes. For more on that, check out my video on why some people just need to give Cody a break. Now, if you're furrowing your brow, jutting out your chin, clenching your jaw, or even cringing right now, just please stick with me. Okay, so I want to believe that Cody knows what he's doing and that he is playing the crowd like a fiddle. During his AEW run, he's proven to be a guy who thinks carefully about everything he does and says, and that has often resulted in some tremendous pro wrestling television and sometimes resulted in too much. And it's those two words, too much, that I'm worried about with all of this. And it's the too much that I hope Cody knows how to utilize and react to. Because he must know how wearing a 30-foot cape during his entrance comes off to an audience, right? Because it's clear he definitely knows what signaling for the pedigree and taking out sledgehammers and golden shovels does to an audience. It's all very on the nose. The question is he taking out the sledgehammers and golden shovels just to play with crowd reactions, knowing he's going to get people cheering for him to turn heel while having zero intention of actually doing so? Because if that's the case, then depending on how they get there, I'm gonna be a bit disappointed. You see, I'm usually someone who champions the idea of the journey being more important than the destination, but in pro wrestling and storytelling in general, that's only if the destination still makes sense and doesn't make the journey feel cheap or pointless in retrospect. The journey to MJF and Cody, for example, was incredible, and even if the execution of the destination was a bit of a mixed bag, the end result of putting MJF over was still achieved, and I can look back fondly on the road Cody and MJF took to get there. So when it comes to Cody's current storyline of losing two big singles matches to Malachi Black, which in turn forced Cody to struggle with his values and reconsider the means he needed to use to achieve his desired end of victory, there needs to be a satisfying finish line. All of the teasing and indecision can't just peter out with Cody just saying, "Gotcha," and returning to being a babyface, because the crowd won't buy it. And I believe Cody knows that, and if he doesn't know that, then Tony Khan really should. And if neither one of them does, there are some bigger problems that would need to be addressed. Luckily, Tony and Cody have shown that they generally do what's best for their fans, and they are dialed into their fans' perceptions and reactions. Now, what makes this whole thing even more interesting is that there are layers of reality to all of it, as Cody has spoken openly in interviews about not wanting his character to turn heel because doing so would be too easy. And in Roads to the Top, his wife Brandi has encouraged him to just give in and give the fans what they want. Cody has pushed back in those conversations, simply saying, nah. Now, because I'm a wrestling fan, and because Cody is the son of Dusty Rhodes, I'm always wondering if Cody is always working and is always at least partially in character. I mean, how couldn't you be, especially when you're forced to be your character on television, in a reality show, on social media, and almost everywhere else? It's gotta be hard to sometimes separate your true self from your performance self when you are so deeply entrenched in the mixed reality field of pro wrestling, and when your dad was one of the all-time greatest workers in the game. So, Cody is walking the line between fan desires and expectations, and his own desire to remain a hero. He's walking the line between what's real and what's performance, and he's doing so in a way that's keeping me captivated and curious to see what he does next. I just really hope he himself knows what the finish line looks like. But what do you think? Where is this all going? Will Cody find a way to win back the segments of the audience whose cheers have turned to boos? Or will he embrace those boos, turn, and maybe even rejoin the Elite, and in the process become the most reviled villain in AEW? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I used a bit of a different format to this one and wrote it more as a stream of consciousness than some of my other work. It's also a bit shorter because of that, but hopefully you were still engaged by it. And if you did dig it and you want to see similar shorter videos in the future, please let me know. Until next time, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it.